to In the Loop. My name is Shane Finster, and we are joined today by Beau Evans with the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Thank you.
Welcome. The topic we're going to cover today is senior driving. So, senior drivers, we do have in America a bit of an aging population, and a lot of these folks still drive. So let's lead off with, what would you consider a senior? No, maybe that's the wrong way to approach it. So senior driving, what are some of the initial considerations we should look at when we do kind of dig into this topic?
Well, you need to look at one thing with an aging population. Our bodies do not tend to stay as youthful as they once were. Vision starts to go, hearing starts to go, maybe hand coordination starts to go. So those are things that could lead into driving hazard for a senior driver. Unfortunately, with senior drivers, we don't want to take away their privileges. They've had the privileges for years, and they've been able to drive and have their independence and their freedom. But unfortunately, there comes a time when you say, okay, I can't do this anymore safely. And when you start asking yourself that question, that's when you need to think of alternatives. Is my daughter or son going to be able to, take care of me, help me get from point A to point B? Is a grandchild going to be able to take me places? Is my spouse going to be able to? So those are the questions that need to be asked, and those are tough decisions to make, and those are tough decisions not only for the senior driver, but also the actual children or grandchildren of that driver, because they're used to grandma or grandpa having their freedom and being able to do that, and it kind of creates a sort of a sad feeling when having to make those decisions.
Right, yeah, because that, driving, I think for a lot of folks is one of the internalized senses of freedom and independence that we have. So, yeah, certainly I could understand where that would bring a great sadness. So when looking for a new Plan A and going through these Plan A when it comes to getting to your destination, we've talked here about looking to family for that. Well, let's say in an unfortunate circumstance there is no family or close friends. Where do we go for our Plan B at that point? What are some of the alternative options?
Public transportation is one big one. If you live in a municipality, that's a lot easier. Normally there is transportation that's provided there, and at a discounted rate for senior drivers or senior citizens in general. But if you don't have that, you may want to look at if you have some friends that can still drive. Your church family, if you go to church, have church family help drive you places. There's all sorts of individual companies and folks that can help senior drivers and senior citizens with their mobile issues, getting from point A to point B, helping drive them places, sometimes in vans where they have to have cargo space for the walkers or the wheelchairs, or a ramp to get into the vehicle. So those are all services that senior citizens can look into from their senior citizen homes, or look at the local hospitals and get some educational pieces from the local hospitals to be able to help them.
So are there additional considerations that a senior driver should look at when it comes to even upkeep or maintenance on their vehicles? With the aging population, in terms of keeping the vehicle safe on the highway for them to operate it. What are some of the considerations they should look into there?
Well, they need to do regular maintenance just like anybody else would. Make sure that there's tread on the tires. Make sure that there's oil. They've changed the oil filters. Windshield wiper blades are clean. There's windshield washer liquid in the vehicle. All the fluids are filled up. And also make sure that all the lighting works, all the electronics work inside the vehicle. So, when you talk about how can we do this, well, take it to a repair shop, an auto body shop. They can do a lot of that servicing for you. And also, if you have somebody in the family that is well versed in cars and things, they could help assist with that as well. But the maintenance and everything, needs to be checked regularly, just like anybody else would, from their young teenage years all the way to their senior years. Just make sure that you're getting it done. If you want to set a reminder, say you have to do something every so months out of the year, set a reminder, put something on the calendar to remind you that, hey, I need to get my car checked and get it taken a look at, because you definitely don't want it breaking down on the side of the road.
Well, absolutely not. So are there certain additional considerations senior drivers should look at when they when it comes to like roadside services, I guess is where I was trying to go with that. If they should have a breakdown, what is probably their best course of action at that point? And this, I'm guessing, can broaden beyond just the senior driver population, but I think it's a good topic to kind of to key in on. What are some types of services you could look at with respect to having an issue along the highway?
Well, mainly when a driver has had bought a car, or been given a car, or whatever, they typically will have some type of roadside assistance service that comes with that. It's optional, but it's typically like an OnStar or a AAA or something along those lines. So those are two good ones right there that they can pick up on. But there's tons of others. Some of the car dealerships have their own service that they go through. They go through maybe a local body shop or local repair shop that provides that service for that car dealership. So those are all things that to look into when you actually buy the car and when you get the car, and then actually keep up with it. Those are just some things that would help assist. Some other things that may help assist are, having something in the back of your car to just in case you do break down. Making sure that I know senior citizens may not like the technology and the way of the world as it is today, but technology is here and it's here to stay. So they may have to just get used to a cell phone, and actually have a cell phone on hand just in case they would happen to break down. They have a way to contact somebody. And then, just the normal things that we've mentioned before with safe driving is having maybe some roadside flares or signs to show that you've broken down, some things in the back to keep you warm, and maybe snack on while you're waiting on some help to arrive. So those are things that would be best to have on hand just in case you would happen to break down as a senior driver.
Would it also be a good idea to kick your four-way flashers on and notify folks if you didn't have flares or flags or something like that, at least that perhaps the 4 ways to notify folks of a roadside hazard, hopefully roadside and not on road. So do you have any other suggestions or recommendations for senior drivers that we can discuss here?
Yeah, actually purchasing a vehicle. We can kind of get a little bit into that. That in itself is a task at any
It's
age.
daunting for everyone, I
It's,
think.
do I get the one with all the bells and whistles on it? Do I get the one with the backup camera? Do I get the one with the side impact? Do I get the ones with the actual radars around it that says if I'm getting too close to somebody or I'm changing lanes? So cars are becoming very drive self. They're driving themselves. They're not really conscious of the driver being in there anymore. They're kind of driving themselves. So in a way, we need to make sure that senior drivers are educated on all the aspects of a vehicle when they're purchasing them. Make sure you get one that's best fit for you. 90-year-old buying a Mustang where they can't see out the back of it, probably not a good thing. They need to be able to get a clear view all the way around as much as possible. So if they have a Mustang that they're going to be able to see in, that's great. They just need to be able to see around. They also need to be able to reach the steering wheel, reach the pedals, make sure they can see all the mirrors. So that's, when you go to buy a car, you go, wow, this has got all the bells and whistles on it, and it's really nice and pretty, and the inside I like it, the color I like. But really you need to look at, okay, am I going to be able to drive this 365 days a year, 24/7? Is this car going to maintain its integrity and maintain itself, and am I going to be able to drive it safely every day for the rest of my life? And that's the question. That's a hard question to answer at any age. But just, before you get happy and go, oh yeah, it's a nice shiny toy, it's not a toy. it's more of this is a real life situation. It's a real life piece of equipment that I need to be able to control on the vehicle,
Right.
Or on the roadway, or it could possibly cause injury to me or anybody else. So that is one key factor at any age, is determining if you can drive that vehicle.
So it's pretty, it's shiny, but bigger picture, does it fit me? Are the ergonomics consistent with something that is going to allow me to safely get down the highways? I
Yep.
think that works well.
Yeah.
If only people can get past the pretty and shiny part, right?
It's
It really
it's
is a
tough.
right fitting the
It's
vehicle
tough.
to the driver.
Yeah.
Well, Beau, again, I appreciate you coming in today. Thank you for talking about senior driving and kind of broadening that topic out a bit to overall considerations for looking at vehicles. So for Armstrong, I'm Shane Finster. Make it a great day.